There is a place on Earth where human beings are not meant to survive. A world with no sunlight. No air. No warmth. A world where the pressure is so overwhelming that it can crush lungs, stop hearts, and turn every breath into a death sentence. For us, entering this world without advanced technology would be impossible. But for one creature, this is home. Not a machine. Not a submarine. A whale. An animal so enormous that its tongue can weigh as much as an elephant. A creature larger than a bus. And yet, this giant disappears into the darkest depths of the ocean as if the laws of nature simply do not apply to it. It dives deeper than most humans will ever travel. It remains underwater longer than any person could survive. And it returns to the surface as if nothing happened. No injuries. No panic. No struggle. Just one calm breath. And then another dive into the abyss. How is that possible? How can a mammal that breathes air survive in a world where there is no oxygen? How can its body withstand pressures powerful enough to crush steel? How can its heart continue beating when every instinct should be screaming for air? And what biological secrets allow this giant to do something humans can barely understand? These are not simple questions. Because whales are not just animals. They are among the most extraordinary biological machines ever created by evolution. Every part of their body has been engineered over millions of years for one purpose. To conquer the deepest and most hostile environment on Earth. In this video, we are going to uncover the hidden science behind their incredible abilities. You will discover why whale lungs collapse on purpose. How their muscles store vast reserves of oxygen. Why their heart slows to an almost unimaginable rhythm. And how their entire body enters a state of perfect efficiency to survive where almost nothing else can. But the deeper we go, the more astonishing the truth becomes. Because whales do not merely endure the ocean. They are built to master it. And once you understand what is happening inside their bodies, you will realize that these giants are doing something that seems almost impossible. They are rewriting the limits of life itself. So prepare to descend into the silent world beneath the waves. A world of darkness. Pressure. And extraordinary survival. This is the science behind the ocean's greatest superpower. This is how whales survive deep dives. You are about to go deep into a world where human survival ends almost instantly. A world where the pressure is so extreme that metal bends, light disappears, and oxygen becomes a luxury that does not exist. And yet, something massive moves through it with complete calm. A creature the size of a bus. A creature that should not, by all logic, be able to survive there at all. But it does. It dives deeper than submarines designed with millions of dollars of engineering. It stays down longer than any human could survive holding their breath. And then it comes back up, completely unharmed. The question is simple. How? How does a whale survive deep dives that should crush, suffocate, and destroy any living body? To understand this, we need to forget what we think we know about biology. Because whales are not just big animals. They are living systems built for pressure, silence, and survival in a world that is not meant for them. And what you are about to discover will change how you see the ocean forever. The first descent into the deep. Imagine the surface of the ocean. Calm. Blue. Almost peaceful. A whale begins to move downward. At first, nothing looks special. But below 100 meters, something changes. Sunlight fades. Sound behaves differently. Pressure starts building like invisible weight. At 200 meters, most divers would already be in extreme danger. At 500 meters, human lungs would collapse. At 1,000 meters, even the strongest submarines feel the strain. But the whale keeps going. Deeper. And deeper. Until it disappears into a world where light no longer exists. This is not just diving. This is controlled biological defiance of physics. And the first secret lies in the body itself. Secret 1: the collapsible body. If a human dives deep without protection, air spaces in the body become deadly. Lungs get crushed. Ears rupture. Blood vessels fail. But whales are built differently. Their ribcage is flexible. Not rigid like ours. It collapses inward safely under pressure. Their lungs are not designed to hold air the way ours do. Instead, they can compress without damage. Think of it like a living pressure suit made by evolution. When a whale dives, its body does not resist the ocean. It adapts to it. And that difference is everything. But this alone is not enough. Because surviving pressure is only part of the problem. The real challenge is oxygen. Or rather, the lack of it. Secret 2: the oxygen storage system. Humans rely heavily on lungs. We panic within minutes without air. But whales have distributed oxygen storage. Most of their oxygen is not even in the lungs. It is stored in the blood and muscles. A protein called myoglobin acts like a sponge for oxygen inside muscle tissue. This gives whales a hidden reserve system. Imagine carrying oxygen not just in your lungs, but in every muscle of your body. That is what allows them to stay underwater for 40 minutes, 90 minutes, even over 2 hours in some species. But here is the surprising part. Whales actually reduce oxygen use while diving. They slow everything down. Heart rate drops dramatically. Blood flow is redirected away from non-essential organs. Only the brain and heart receive priority oxygen supply. It is not just breath control. It is total biological shutdown of unnecessary systems. A kind of controlled survival mode that humans cannot access naturally. But even this is not the deepest secret. Because there is something even more extreme happening inside them. Something that looks almost like science fiction. Secret 3: the heart that slows time. A whale's heart does something extraordinary during deep dives. It slows down to just a few beats per minute. Not slightly slower. Dramatically slower. Imagine a massive animal the size of a truck whose heartbeat almost stops compared to surface activity. This is called bradycardia. But in whales, it is not a medical condition. It is a survival strategy. When oxygen becomes limited, the body prioritizes time over speed. Every beat becomes valuable. Every second becomes calculated. It is as if the whale is stretching time itself inside its body. But even then, there is a limit. Eventually oxygen will run out. So how do whales avoid drowning in their own biology? The answer lies in something even more surprising. Secret 4: the art of going silent. One of the most important parts of deep diving is not movement. It is stillness. Whales reduce physical activity to an extreme minimum. Their muscles rely on stored oxygen instead of constant breathing supply. They avoid unnecessary motion. Even swimming becomes highly efficient and controlled. No wasted energy. No panic. No urgency. Because urgency consumes oxygen faster than anything else. But there is another layer. A layer that most people never think about. Whales actually control their buoyancy with precision. They do not fight the water. They glide through it. And this saves enormous energy during descent and ascent. But the real mystery is still ahead. Because deep underwater, whales face another invisible threat. One that has nothing to do with oxygen. Secret 5: the pressure problem. At extreme depths, pressure becomes dangerous enough to crush human lungs instantly. Every 10 meters adds more weight of water above. At 1,000 meters, the force is unimaginable. So how does a whale survive it? The answer is not resistance. It is compliance. Whales allow their bodies to compress in a controlled way. Air spaces collapse safely. Their anatomy is built so pressure is distributed evenly. Even their blood is adapted to avoid nitrogen complications that cause decompression sickness in humans. In simple terms, whales do not fight the ocean. They become part of it. But now we reach something even more fascinating. Because all of this explains how they go down. But not how they come back up. The return from the deep. After extreme dives, a whale begins its ascent. Slowly at first. Then gradually increasing movement. But here is the key question. Why does it not suffer damage from pressure changes like humans do? The answer is in controlled ascent behavior. Whales regulate nitrogen levels by avoiding rapid changes in depth. They do not rush upward. They rise in a biologically safe pattern that prevents harmful gas formation in tissues. It is a natural decompression system built into behavior itself. But what is even more astonishing is this. Even after hours without breathing, whales do not panic. They surface calmly. And when they do breathe again, it is not desperate gasping. It is controlled recovery. Almost like nothing happened. What we are really looking at. At this point, a question becomes unavoidable. How did evolution create something this advanced? Because what whales demonstrate is not just survival. It is engineering. Biological engineering refined over millions of years. Every system in their body is designed around one idea. Maximize underwater efficiency. Minimize oxygen waste. Survive extreme pressure. And return safely. But there is still one final secret. And it might be the most important of all. The final secret: the brain. Despite everything happening during deep dives, whales maintain brain function without damage. This means they must carefully regulate oxygen delivery at a level far beyond human capability. Their brains are adapted to low oxygen conditions. They do not panic under carbon dioxide buildup the way humans do. This is why whales can remain calm even in conditions that would trigger immediate panic in other mammals. They are not just physically adapted. They are neurologically adapted for silence, pressure, and darkness. The big picture. When you put everything together, the picture becomes clear. Collapsible lungs. Oxygen stored in muscles. Extreme heart rate control. Energy conservation. Pressure adaptation. Safe ascent behavior. Neurological stability. Each system alone is impressive. Together, they form one of the most advanced survival designs on Earth. And yet, whales did not design themselves. Nature did. Slowly. Over unimaginable time. Through trial, adaptation, and survival pressure greater than anything we can replicate. Closing moment. The next time you look at the ocean surface, remember this. Below that calm blue layer, there is a world of crushing pressure and complete darkness. And moving through it are creatures that should not be able to exist there. But they do. Not by breaking the rules of nature. But by mastering them. And that is what makes whales not just survivors of the deep. But true masters of an alien world right here on Earth.